Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. I'm a 24-year-old female, and I've gone through quite a few unfortunate experiences with my partners. However, none of them have been as crazy or creepy as my most recent ex. I met him when I was 20 and was with him for 2 years. I never saw his true self until much later in the relationship. I only saw him as a kind and loving man with a bad luck when it came to dating at first. A few months into our relationship, I realized that he was the bad luck in the dating in each of his ex's lives. However, I always ended up feeling too bad to break it up with him. He was a misogynist, racist, made unnecessary dark jokes at others' expense, and thought he was the ultimate greatest being to ever walk on earth. He was always extremely self-centered, making every single conversation about himself instead of letting both the people make equal contributions. My relationship with him became toxic very quickly. Soon enough, he was ordering me to stop talking to my guy friends or going out with my other friends without him. He became possessive and insecure to the point of going through my mobile every single day. He always created a power dynamic between us and treated me as beneath him, as if my gender decided my worth. He degraded me and called me insulting names every single day and forced me to update him every 5 minutes whenever we were separated for some work during the day. He tried to show this as his way of taking care of me, but really, he was just being controlling and trying to keep me suppressed under him. I never left him, even though I fought with him a lot, because I felt a sense of responsibility towards him, and I knew that he would find it hard to cope without me. Naively, I even thought that he would grow out of his toxic mentality, and I could help him become a better person. Clearly, this was just wishful thinking, and nothing like this ever happened. Instead, things came to such a terrible point that I had no option but to leave him. He had dared raise his hand against me. It was just a slap, but that didn't make it okay. In a fit of anger, he had completely lost himself and hurt me, and he didn't even seem apologetic for this at all. I finally reevaluated our relationship and realized that I was putting in a lot more than him. I realized that it was time for me to step back as I was losing myself, and if I remained in this relationship, I would turn into a victim of abuse. The funniest thing is that he didn't even realize his mistake. He didn't understand why this crossed the line, as he had always known women as objects that could be turned into punching bags at will. I told him straight up that I was ending our relationship. It was almost comical how quickly his demeanor changed. He had not expected me to break up with him. He begged, pleaded, and scolded, but it was to no avail. I had made up my mind, and I was not going to be treated like a doormat. A few months later, I found the man who treated me the way I deserved to be treated. He was my ex's best friend, but he confessed that he never agreed with his mentality and had distanced himself from my ex because he wanted to hold onto his own values and morality. I appreciated that, and we started a friendship which quickly blossomed into a relationship. He was everything my ex was not: kind, gentle, polite, respectful. After graduating from school, we decided to get married. I knew that this man was the one for me. It's been 2 years since we were married. I thought that I had left my ex-boyfriend behind in the past, in the nightmare realm of my memories. But boy, was I wrong. Today, while having dinner, I kept getting suspicious feelings that somebody was in the house. My husband kept saying that I was just being paranoid, but I still couldn't shake off the feeling. And I was right, because as I retired to bed for the night, right on my pillow, I found a note that had been addressed to me from my ex-boyfriend. A note that claimed that I have managed to enter your house. How long will it take me to enter your heart? I shouted for my husband and immediately showed him the note. His reaction was overwhelming at best. He only told me that this was a sick joke, that some neighbor was playing on me, and to not think about it too much. I knew that something fishy was going on because I had kept this feeling that somebody had broken into the house throughout dinner. But I guess that maybe he's right. I still cannot shake off the feeling that my ex-boyfriend is stalking me now, but maybe my fears really are unfounded, as my husband thinks. Honestly, there's nothing I can do at the moment. This incident really shook me up, though. If something like this happens again, I'm contacting the police straight away. So, this was not a one off incident or a joke like we were hoping it was. In the past week, I have found letters on my pillow every single day, all of them creepy to the extreme and addressed to me by my ex boyfriend. What really shocks me about this entire situation is how callous my husband is about it. He doesn't seem even a bit worried that I may come to harm. Instead, he treats these letters as practical jokes and keeps telling me that I'm overthinking about nothing. However, I saw something today that I couldn't believe, something that I had never really expected. I had gone to the cafe to get a drink when I saw my ex boyfriend and my husband sitting and chatting together, almost as if they had become best friends again. However, my husband's facial expression looked pretty uncomfortable. Being too curious for my own good, I had to know what was going on, so I sat down at a table near them, remaining out of their sight with the help of a menu card and a couple who was sitting right in front of me. Thankfully, the people around me were not loud, so I switched on the audio recorder on my mobile. My husband and my ex's voices were recorded very clearly. They were having a hushed argument, it seemed. Soon enough, I realized exactly what it was that had my husband so nervous and my boyfriend so smug, and it made me want to throw up. I learned from their conversation that my boyfriend had taken a few nude pictures of me secretly without telling me and still had them. He was threatening to leak these pictures on social media if my husband refused to help him out with his disgusting plan of wooing me back by leaving those creepy messages on my pillow. My husband had tried to give him money and material things, but he stubbornly only wanted to get me back. My poor husband had no choice, so in order to protect my privacy, he had been letting my ex in our house every day so that he could leave those creepy messages. At this point, I was honestly shocked. I had never expected this to be the truth. I even felt a bit guilty about suspecting my husband, who was himself trapped in this situation. With this recording, I have only one goal now: to get my ex prison time for his crimes, and I am contacting the police today itself. I contacted the police and gave them the recording. It was enough proof for them to file a case against my ex. He was taken in custody in the morning today and refused to confess until the recording was played to him. After hearing the recording, he confessed that he thought that I would get intimidated enough to go back to him if he kept leaving messages for me. He blackmailed my husband because my husband was emotionally compromised by me in this situation. My husband apologized to me for causing me so much stress and told me that he was being blackmailed ever since I got that first letter. He had thought my boyfriend would be satisfied with money, but the creep wanted me to be scared and intimidated by him. Honestly, I understood my husband's point. The poor man had been terrified and was only trying to save me. He genuinely didn't know what to do, and going to the police seemed out of the question to him. He had come close to telling me everything honestly a few times, but then he stopped himself because he didn't want me to be scared, which I already was, so that was pretty stupid of him. I want my ex to suffer for the kind of creepy things he did and the trauma he put me through while we were in a relationship and recently. He needs to face the consequences of his actions for once, because this time he's gone too far and I need to stand up for myself now. I don't know whether we will have a strong case against my ex in the court, but I definitely want him to serve time for all the fear and stress he caused. And I have told my boyfriend to never hide things from me again, even for my own benefit. Let's hope things get better now. He's been diagnosed with a personality disorder. I really don't want to ruin his life over this now and just want him to get the help he needs. So I'll be taking back my case against him, and he is going to talk to a psychiatrist and get all the help he needs. I'm honestly over the trauma of my relationship with him, so at this point I just hope that he gets the help he needs and becomes a functional member of society. I am willing to look past all of his past actions if his sessions with his psychiatrist manage to bring about any change in him. After all, everyone deserves help, even the people who hurt others as a result of their own hurt. Wow, OP, you're a better person than me. A person who tortured me like that, I wouldn't think twice before throwing them to the lions. You are ensuring that he gets help. And here you have really succeeded as a human being. But take care of yourself too. You're important as well. OP shouldn't have forgiven the guy so easily. He had stalked her and tried to leak her nudes. He should be suffering the sentence for his crimes. Mental illness does not excuse his frankly disgusting actions. I'm a 26-year-old female and I'm getting married in a couple of months. My fiance and I have been preparing for our wedding a little untraditionally, and it's caused problems between my cousin, 25 female, and I. My fiance grew up with divorced parents, and he was always completely against marriage until he met me. He never wanted to put any kids through what he went through. It was a very nasty divorce that involved his dad embezzling millions of dollars and left his mom homeless with no money. Because of this, we agreed we would get a prenup, and we have also been doing premarital counseling. The prenup is very fair to both parties. It's simple, but protects each of us from any debt that the other obtains and includes clauses that protect me in the event of divorce. I was having lunch with my mom, my aunt, and my cousin the other day, and I told them all of this. For background, my cousin and I were very close growing up until she had a planned pregnancy young and got married the day she turned 18. When she told me that she had planned a pregnancy, I told her she was selfish and irresponsible and she was setting her kid up for failure because she wanted to be a wife and a mom before she was financially or emotionally ready. We got in a huge fight, and our relationship was never the same after. She's now divorced with 3 kids at 25 and had to move back with her parents. After I told her all the details about the prenup and the counseling, she said, "That doesn't sound very romantic to me," and said that if my fiancé wants a prenup, he probably thinks that I'm marrying him for his money. This struck a nerve with me. My fiancé started a successful business right out of high school and was making money in the higher 6 figures while he was still in college. I told her that I may not be the most romantic, but neither is getting a divorce, and the fact that he made sure our prenup protects me as well makes me even love him even more. Because if we do get a divorce, I won't be stuck with his kids and no money. This started a long screaming match that ended when my cousin asked why it made me happy to see her struggle. I said it didn't make me happy, but I did think it was her own fault. That was the final straw, and she stormed out of the house and drove off. We haven't spoken since. I know that I said some harsh things, but I never would have said them if she hadn't made comments about me and my upcoming marriage first. The character limit kept me from including this originally, so I cut down my original post to add this. The stuff I said to my cousin when she first got pregnant was harsh, and I know that. Our whole family was upset with her, and she came to me thinking I would tell her what she wanted to hear. I printed out statistics of what happens to teen moms and their kids and told her she was selfish for putting what she wanted over what's best for her future kids. She was 18 and still in high school, and her ex-husband was always a troublemaker. I didn't think she had considered any of the harsh realities of motherhood. It seemed like everyone but her could see what a terrible decision it was, and I thought if she really listened to me, she would be open to either adoption or abortion. NTA, she's just petty that you're happy, and she realized that she ruined her life. All this, be the bigger person, is the stupidest thing anyone said. Just a nice way for saying be a doormat. NTA, I was an unmarried single mom of 2 at 26. My oldest was born when I was 24. I absolutely agree that purposely getting pregnant at 18 is irresponsible in 99% of cases. Your cousin insinuated that your fiancé had doubts of your intentions by having a prenup involved. You corrected her with some slightly pointed examples of why the prenup would protect all parties in the case of divorce. So, it sounds bad, but hear me out on this. I'm a 26-year-old male and I've been dating PJ, 27, female, for right around a year, but we've been friends for a few years before we started dating. I'm a huge golfer, and due to the pandemic and a move across the country, I haven't seen my friends in over 2 years. We made a plan a year ago to go on a golfing trip together. Everything is paid for, about $1,000 in total for the flights, hotels, and all golfing expenses. It has been a big deal for our group. PJ has a sister that I don't get along with at all. When we first met, it was fine. She was just a very entitled person. Her husband at the time was well off, so she was a trophy wife and never worked. Then we realized we had different political ideals, and this led to some heated conversations. I tried to avoid them typically, but Erin, PJ's sister, would always go at me. I got sick of it and just started ignoring her totally. This led to a fight with PJ, so I started just giving one word answers to her sister whenever we had to be around each other. The final straw came when Erin got divorced. Erin's ex husband was fooling around with one of Erin's friends, so she started spending more time at our place. I'd come home and she'd be there, already with my girlfriend stirring up crap. Erin started telling me that I needed to work harder at work to earn more money, because it was unfair that PJ had to work when I should be providing for the both of us. I said, well, that's your opinion. Personally, I always want whoever I'm with to financially add to the household. I don't want a trophy wife. Erin laughed and said that that was ridiculous. And how were we going to raise kids? And just a few other derogatory comments. I kind of snapped and said, well, Erin, your husband provided for you and then cheated on you. So if you don't mind, I'll probably take relationship advice from another source. Well, this started a huge shitstorm, and we haven't spoken since. That was about a year ago now. Erin moved a few states away and now is engaged again, like a 5-month relationship, and they're already engaged. PJ is desperately trying to get me to go. But here is the issue. The wedding is the same weekend as my golfing trip. I told PJ from the first time I heard the date that I wouldn't be going. Well, she didn't take it well and is demanding I go with her to an important family event. My point is that I've already spent $1,000 on this trip. Her sister and I hate each other, and this is a rebound marriage that won't last anyway. So what is the point of dragging me there? I said, if I cancel this trip, will I be reimbursed? Will you pay my ticket to the wedding? It's a few states away. PJ said she wouldn't pay me back or pay for the ticket because she is saving up for a down payment. I said, then I'm not canceling a trip and paying for a new one for a person who I can't stand. She's saying I'm being an a-hole. But I don't think this is a fair ask at all. AITA? Yeah, NTA. The bigger problem is OP's girlfriend doesn't defend him or tell her sister to stop being rude to OP. She is forcing him to be around someone who disrespects him and hasn't apologized. That, to me, is the bigger issue than missing the wedding, potentially. NTA, relationships are mutual compromise. You had your trip booked, and you won't be missed by the bridegroom. Your girlfriend should understand this isn't an unreasonable request.